How's it going, everyone? It's Bomberman Dan with Clan Dano Gaming with the second game of the best of 3 between NesTea and NaNiwa. And we are on Antigua Shipyard, by the way. And in the last game, we saw NaNiwa go for a Forge Fast Expand on MLG dual site, or GSL dual site, and just be overtaken by NesTea's massive Zergling Roach push. And it really wasn't too big, but NaNiwa didn't really scout well enough to notice it. As well as he didn't have really a lot of defenses. He only had one cannon. I mean, two cannons, would have been way more effective. And he only had two zealots on the field that were out of position. Not like they would have done too much, because he was completely overwhelmed. So we'll see what happens here shortly between the two players. And it does seem like NaNiwa might be going for another Forge Fast Expand against NesTea. I think maybe he can pull it off right the second time. Maybe we'll see cannons, more cannons, maybe a couple more units besides the two zealots that were out of position. So kind of interesting to see. Again, NesTea goes spawning pool first, just like he went last game. He did not go hatch before pool, which he could have easily done against a Protoss that does Forge Fast Expand, because of the lack of harassment that's going to come very early from that. So we do see NaNiwa continuing to probe up. Let me get the production tab up for us. And we'll shortly probably throw down his Nexus, and then, just like he did last time, he went Nexus first. And then Forge, and then Gateway Cybercore. And we see NesTea. No extractors yet. So maybe we will see another spawning pool and then immediately hatch. And then we see 6 Zerglings down, and then the extractor, and then he cancels. Oh, so he cancels the extractor and goes with the queen instead. And what is this? What is this? Is this a drone all in with Zerglings? It looks like it. Looks like NesTea will be doing some sort of all in, but is keeping a couple of drones at the mineral line to continue making Zerglings, I would assume. So almost a complete all-in with a small amount of Zergling reinforcements, and these drones will be spotted by this probe, and we will see how NaNiwa reacts. He does continue with the Nexus, and he can cancel that at any point in time, but we'll keep it up. It seems like NaNiwa is going to have to build some cannons, and there is a cannon in the mineral line, which is what we want to see from NaNiwa, so he can be able to mine and continue to fend off at the same time. But it looks like NesTea is going to retreat his drones. It is not looking good there. NesTea will be significantly behind, because it doesn't look like he will be able to do too much here. And the Zerglings... Oh, and the Nexus is canceled by NaNiwa. So actually, I don't know what to say here. This Gateway might actually go down, as well as this Forge. But NaNiwa is still currently mining and has an economic lead on NesTea. Even though... it really shouldn't be that way. And he does lose the Gateway, and it looks like he's going to lose the Forge. So NesTea may be actually paying off a little bit here. Did lose a significant amount of mining time there, but does have a decent amount of drones to maybe go for a hatchery next, or make a couple of forces. We do see the Queen go down, and we see the Lings in the main for NaNiwa, but this cannon should be able to hold them off pretty well. But the Lings are going to be used to take out this assimilator that isn't even done yet, and sort of forcing NaNiwa to kind of play on the edge here. He's going to have to start to warp in zealots and kind of build around this cannon, which is crucial for him to stay alive, because really these Lings could take him out here. And NesTea actually managed to sort of make that worthwhile. Really did kind of scare NaNiwa into falling back, and was to force the cancel on the Nexus, take out a pylon, a Gateway, and a Forge. So very effective there. Oh, I think it was a Cybercore. And we do see NesTea deciding to get this hatch down, as well as get this extractor to maybe get Ling speed. And we do see these Lings continuing to be very, very effective, just kind of harassing NaNiwa, forcing him to, kind of move this zealot in, and just really keep producing units that NaNiwa really doesn't want to produce. And if you look at the supply, it's 31 to 31 exactly, and 34, a big leap there. But, NaNiwa's not actually in that good of a position. You would think from that, oh, and he has to cancel the Gateway just to get his probe out. you'd think he'd be in a better position there because he got to hold off all those drones that moved in. It was more than half of the amount of drones that NesTea even had, and yet he's really not in that great of a position because he canceled the Nexus, lost a pylon, and then lost a cyber core and a forge, and he really doesn't want to lose any of that. If he got to keep the cyber core, he could probably have warp gate by now, and would definitely be in a lot of better position. So NesTea is on 2 base and is getting that that metabolic boost, some of that Zergling speed, and it does seem like he will be in a good position. We do see the roaches again. And really, NaNiwa isn't in that great of a position at all. He does have these 4 warp gates here. It might be kind of pushing out here, but really shouldn't be. He has his units sort of aggressive, trying to take map control. And we do see this probe trying to create a proxy pylon of the sort. Not the best position. We could have seen one up here that would have had a force field, or the matrix down here. It would have been equally as effective, yet harder to see. But not a big deal. As well as maybe a proxy pylon in there, or a proxy pylon up here would have been nice too. So NaNiwa's Nexus almost down. We do have these sentries here on the ramp ready to force field and stop anything that wants to come in. And we do see the proxy pylon over there, as well as a 3rd by NesTea, but 6 roaches on the way. And metabolic boost is almost finished up. So he can clean this up very easily if he wants to. And we might see a cancel here. And the cancel is probably going to be seen here because his lings are a little out of position but can't really deal with that by themselves. But the roaches are going to come up. And maybe not a cancel. But there are a lot of zealots here that will probably be able to clean this up. But he needs to kind of... sorry. Pull the zealots off of this. And actually, is he going to go for it? He does cancel it. And he's going to actually hold these roaches off fairly well. But a big ling reinforcement here is going to take out all of these zealots. And he should probably fall back, but he's not going to. And NaNiwa, and 20 lings on the way by NesTea, might actually be able to finish NaNiwa right here, but a huge warp in of sentries, so we might see a lot of force fields being thrown down here just to try to stop him. But he does have a good amount of roaches that really aren't going to make these force fields all that good, because really he's going to try to wall it off so that the Zergling can't get by. And here we go. Will he get the force fields off? He doesn't get the force fields off, and it does look like these Zerglings are going to actually take out a couple of these sentries. Oh, and the sentries actually not losing any of them at all. Pretty good there by NaNiwa, and warps in even more sentries, but there are a couple lings up here and some roaches, and will he be able to hold it off with good micro? He might just be able to do that, but we do see the roaches coming in the side and the lings coming in the side, but a force field goes down there. 3 good force fields thrown down, and that will be able to let NaNiwa hold on for a little bit longer. But is going to have to pull back the probes because these roaches do have range to hit these probes through the force fields and kind of like around them. And we do see NesTea deciding to pull back because we do see kind of a push here by NaNiwa. Might be able to clean this up. And good force fields there by NaNiwa. Oh my gosh, very good force fields there. Holding on, but does lose his zealots and is going to force NesTea to pull back and continue going on. Great micro there by NaNiwa. Continuing to buy himself some time. Keep this expansion up and running. And very, very good play there. And we do have a warp in over here, and a lot of zealots going to take this out. And these lings honestly cannot take out these many zealots, but he does have these zealots out of position. Is probably going to lose them. He does lose one and is close to losing another. And we do see NaNiwa putting a lot of pressure on NesTea, but it does look like NesTea will be able to clean this up. But another big warp in of zealots and stalkers is actually going to be a big problem for NesTea here, who is actually not in that good of a position, because we do see the stalkers coming in from NaNiwa's base. It might actually be able to clean up this expansion very well. We do see the sentries, so we have all of NaNiwa's units actually attacking NesTea at this point in time. And NesTea doesn't have that many units, but we do see 12 roaches on the way, as well as 4 lings and 3 spine crawlers down over here. And some great force fields going to take down these queens. Kind of a big loss there for NesTea. Isn't going to have any larva injects anytime soon. But it does seem like NesTea, if he can get these spine crawlers up, should be in a pretty decent position. We do have a lot of roaches, but he's going to have to do a lot of damage. And the force fields are just being very nice to help NaNiwa. Just keeping these roaches in small numbers and really able to do a lot of damage. And just being very effective. And NesTea is just having a hard time with this hatchery here. And NaNiwa using the hatchery a lot to his advantage there. Kind of separating everything there. And we do have a big warping of more units. And very nice play by NaNiwa, taking out NesTea's third, as well as forcing a lot of units. Kind of big deal about forcing a lot of units like that, a lot of gas units. It's going to kind of prevent the Zerg player to get any sort of like big tech advantage, you know, like Hydralisks or Mutas especially. But we do have a burrow there by NesTea is going to be able to heal up those roaches very nicely, as well as tunneling claws. So we do see a kind of commitment here to roaches, and NaNiwa spots that, and we do have the robo going down right there, and he's going to be able to produce immortals off of that and be especially effective against roaches. And yeah, NesTea is very committed to these roaches, as we see 8 more roaches coming down, and he does spot this proxy pylon, but it looks like NaNiwa, oh, NesTea's going to go for it. He's going to say, hey, I'm going to kill this proxy pylon, I don't care about these lings. And we do have a big push of roaches out here, and that roach speed is very nice on creep, allowing those roaches to move very fast. And it looks like NesTea's trying to get NaNiwa out of position, but it looks like NaNiwa will get back just in time, or will intercept this force, and NaNiwa should be able to clean that up fairly easily. Yeah, NaNiwa spots it, and is going to be able to do a lot. Guardian Shield, very helpful. Oh, as well as a lot of force fields, but NaNiwa does not have detection, and is just going to kind of have to deal with that there. So will we see an Observer? We do have the Observer out first, and those Immortals will be particularly effective here, considering, yeah, we do see Immortal out next, against these roaches, because he is just not overly committed to roaches, but is just very committed to these roaches. And we need to see NesTea take a third here shortly. And there it is, because he is not in a good position. It's never a good position to be on the same amount of bases, as a Protoss player, but we do have this macro hatch there that's going to help that up in terms of making a lot of units. Boom! But a decent force field there, stopping quite a bit of them, of the roaches, but not too much there because they did manage to get around. But it does look like NaNiwa is going to be able to clean this up, but not very well. Oh, hey, NaNiwa is actually doing a surprisingly good amount of damage, but it's not very much damage. NesTea isn't in a terrible position here. He just needs to pull back these roaches and continue to producing, and kind of get ready for a defense against NaNiwa, because NaNiwa's feeling pretty good about his position right now. He's getting +2 attack as well as blink, and blink against these roaches with great blink micro will be really effective. You know, prolonging the life of your stalkers is always good to see. And these zealots ever being kind of effective at kind of making NesTea move his units into different positions. We do see a lot of roaches on the way, still a ton of roaches, and roaches are pretty good against ground units, any gateway unit, against Protoss, you know, really strong units. Roaches have a lot of armor and stuff like that, and do a particularly good amount of damage, but you know, you have to watch out for those robo units, like the Immortal and stuff like that. And we see an engagement down here, but there's a lot of blink going on. We have the Guardian Shield going down, and these roaches, or these Zealots, kind of taking a lot of the damage for the Stalkers. And we have the Immortals on the field. They're going to do a ton of damage to these armored roaches. And NesTea is not in that very good position. He does have these spine crawlers back there that do a lot of damage against armored units, but only 3 won't be that much. And we do see NaNiwa continuing to put a lot of pressure on this third. If he can stop this third from going down, he will be in a very good position to stop that. But it looks like we will have infestors on the way, because it looks like we will have pathogen glands, which will be very effective against these armored units, which is basically all of NaNiwa's army. The sentries, light, but the Immortal and the Blink Stalker, which is what it consists of, you know, a lot of that. And the fungals are really going to become important, because, you know, you can't move while you're fungled, so the blink won't be really useful at all. We do have a lot of lings coming down, so, you know, try to get those surrounds and absorb some shots while the roaches can do a lot of damage to this big army. And it looks like NaNiwa just continuing to push, doing a lot of damage. And we do have 4 infestors on the way, and some good fungals would be great to help him here. And NaNiwa just continuing to have decent macro here, sort of letting his money get up there, but on 3 base, he doesn't have that many production facilities to sort of continue to produce off of that. And we do see him using up a lot of his minerals there, which is always good. And we do see NesTea continuing to make roaches, as well as get these infestors. These infestors will be incredibly helpful, and we do see NaNiwa going for that that +3 attack, which will be very, very, very nice for these immortals that do, I believe it's 50 damage, so 60 damage versus armored already. And when this +3 finishes up, it will just be a ton of damage against these roaches. But we do see have 4 infestors, and we do see NesTea deciding to move out against this against NaNiwa's army, and it looks like we will be going for an engagement here. But he has to remember there's a lot of force fields that can be played down by these sentries. A lot of them have a decent amount of force field or energy left, and you know, getting your army split in half can really mean the loss of the battle. But he does have a burrow and can sort of manipulate that. But again, there's an observer right here. We'll still be able to attack it, so, you know, kind of a hard engagement to kind of be an attacker here. As we see NesTea not having the biggest army, but able to defend over here. Sorry, over here. And NaNiwa probably going to be very easy to defend over here. It's just because of the way it kind of like splits your army in the middle here, and if you get split over here, it can really mean like a very, very bad engagement for you. And we see NaNiwa, NesTea gets his unit split in half, and then, you know, takes a lot of damage there. And that's what you have to watch out for. NesTea knew about that. He's like, yeah, I can get my army split in half. I'm going to have to watch that. And we do see Colossus Tech going down for NaNiwa, as well as extended thermal lances, will be very, very nice if he can get some force fields out and keep those roaches away from those Colossus. These Colossus, although not very good against armored units, still do a lot of damage output and are particularly effective. And it looks like these infestors are going to get hit, but we see a lot of infested Terran going down, and they are going to be very, very nice for taking up damage and as well as doing it. It looks like these roaches aren't getting the good concave they want. These tons of force fields coming up, and these roaches are going to burrow underneath. But will it be enough? We do have the one Colossus out on the field doing damage, and it looks like NaNiwa is going to very easily clean this up. And it looks like that might be it for NesTea, because he loses his entire army, and that is the game. So NesTea takes one in the first round, and NaNiwa coming back on Antigua Shipyard to win the second. And it looks like we are going to go into the third round of this best of 3. So stay tuned for the next game.